Good day to all my dear students. Last class, we learned about what's the meaning of business ethics, definitions of ethics and business ethics, and about the scope of business ethics. Is it so? So today, you're going to learn type of ethics. Okay. So there are three different type of ethics. First one is transactional ethics. Second one is participatory ethics, and the third one is recognitional ethics. Okay. So first we shall learn what do you mean by transactional ethics. Okay. So asymmetrical relations, the claims of unequal claims and of conflicting the interest which do not exhaust the arsenal of possible action patterns. Okay, so the concept of common interest, they need to be specified because of different types of common interest which can be distinguished. Okay, so the word common, okay, the common is used in the sense of occurring simultaneously. So their communality is by occurring at one and as well as at the same time without, however, they will be dependent of one another. Okay. So there is a morality involved in this relation. Okay. So for example, I am pursuing my affairs that he pursues his affairs. So here there are two persons. So the two persons, they are aware of each other's existence. But that is all the relationship, which means they are very thin relationship. Okay. So interest, they can also be common in the stronger sense of being connected. Okay. So it can also notice that if connected interests are at the stake, the interests of both cannot be realized. So both the parties are needed to arrive at the intended result. So every party is indispensable. Okay. So every party is equally entitled to an appropriate share in the outcome of the arrangement. So all the market transaction, they will fall within which category? The transactional category. Okay, for example, if I need vegetables from the vegetable vendor. Okay, so the vendor want customers like me for what? For a survival. Okay, so vegetable vendor as well as me are dependent on each other. So as long we both contribute appropriately together, as we generate a surplus that none of us on his own is able to produce. Okay, so in order to let things to run smoothly, to specific moral principle is occur. Okay, so what are the two specific moral principles? Okay, the first one is principle of honesty. Okay, and the second one is principle of reciprocity. Okay, so principle of honesty, which means one should operate in good faith, fairly and inequitably, not betraying the confidence received. Okay, so the principle of reciprocity, which means one should avoid free riding on somebody else's efforts. Okay, so the domain of ethics, they cover the transactions that are performed on the basics of simultaneous, or they could connect the interest and by the principles of equality, honesty, reciprocity that are indicated as the domain of What ethics? Transactional ethics. Okay. So this is about transactional ethics. So this is the first type of ethics. And the second one is participatory ethics. Okay. So with this participatory ethics, okay, so the parties, they cooperate in order to produce a more common good, which also consists of three characteristic features. Okay, so the first one is the good can only be realized through the participation of all parties, and the second one is participation cannot be enforced, which means there is no moral obligation to take part. And the third one is through participation, it may be profitable by participating the parties as well as the community, and none of the parties, they have to participate in order to serve, which means every possible participant can obtain without risking a lasting damage for himself. Okay. So the important thing is to join all the alliance voluntarily, committing themselves to a self-imposed and non-enforceable obligation. Okay. So participatory ethics. Okay. So this participatory ethics, which is about the shape of solidarity in the age of individualization, and this participatory ethics is the ethics of the civil society, recently rediscovered as a solid ground for collective arrangements where both are marked and the state fail. So by participating on a regular basis in common projects on behalf of general welfare, a corporation demonstrate that it can take seriously, which is of corporate citizenship. Okay. So this is about participatory ethics. Third one is recognitional ethics. So here, the domain of recognitional ethics, they cover a large part of traditional ethical interventions. Okay. So ethics, in fact, it is about asymmetrical relations, about the rights of interests of the one generating a duty for another. Okay. Let me say example for this. So the employees aged 57 to 60 years. Okay. So they are morally obliged to retire to give way to some younger colleagues being in the midst of their careers, so they can raise a more weighty claim to job. Okay. So here, this ethics, it clarifies and support the two principles. Okay, by considering the appropriate. So this is about the types of ethics. So the next is about the Code of Ethics, American Marketing Association. So here, the members of American Marketing Association, which means it's called as AMA. A means American, M means marketing, A means association. So members of AMA. Okay. So they are committed to ethical professional conduct. Okay. So they will be joining together in subscribing the Code of Ethics. Okay. By embracing the following topics, which means first one is responsibilities of the marketer, second is honesty and fairness, and the third one is rights and duties of parties. Okay. So first one, responsibilities of the marketer. Here, marketers must accept the responsibility for the consequences of their activities, and they should make every effort to ensure that their decisions, recommendations, and their actions to function to serve to satisfy all relevant public. Okay, so AMA, which means they should be guided by the basic rule of professional ethics, not knowingly to do harm. The second one is the adherence to all applicable laws and regulations. Third one, the accurate representation of their education, training, and experience. And the fourth one is the active support, practice, and promotion of the code or ethics. So this is about the responsibilities of the marketer. And the second one is honesty and fairness. So under this, the marketers, they should be honest in serving the consumers, clients, employees, suppliers, distributors, and the public. So not knowingly by participating in conflict of the interest without the prior notice to all parties involved, and establishing the equitable fee schedules including the payment or receipt of usual, customary, or legal conceptions for marketing exchanges. Okay, and the third one is rights and duties of parties. So here, participants in the marketing exchange, the process should be able to expect products and services which is offered or safe and they are fit for their intended uses. Communications about offered products and services are all deceptive. Okay, so approximately the internal methods will exist for equitable adjustments and for concerning the purchases. Okay, so the next one is characteristics of business ethics. So under characteristics of business ethics, ethical decisions differ with the individual perspective of different persons. Each person views the ethical question in terms of his or her own frame of reference. Ethical decisions are not limited to themselves but affects a wide range of other situations as well. Ethical decisions do not end in themselves but have widespread ramifications. Most ethical decision involves a trade-off between costs incurred and benefits received. It needs to be clearly understood that costs and benefits, profits and responsibilities are the two ends of a single spectrum. Okay, so the consequences of most ethical decisions are not clear and are ambiguous in nature. So it is often clear what the consequence will be of an unethical decision, either of an individual or of an organization. Okay, every person is individually responsible for the ethical or unethical decision or for the action that he or she takes. So the ethical decisions are voluntary human actions. All human beings have the freedom of choice and of free will. Okay, so this are about the characteristics of ethical decision. So here, morally they will be correct and due. Justice is not only done, which means it is of appropriate and acceptable. For right, okay, which means we should be honest and due. So for equitable, which means just and equal. And for good, highest good for all concerned. So these are about the characteristics of business ethics. So next class you will learn about what are the factors which is influenced by the business ethics, judging the ethics of the leader, and what are the importance of business ethics, improvement of ethical performance in ethics, etc. Okay, thank you.